Good. Eliana and Gabriela, how are you?
Hello.
And everybody is here, Milia and of course
But
Manuel.
Amnon, look to these beautiful young ladies. They are very relaxed. They are in vacation for the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, you know, I see that. You know, I see that. You know, they were very beautiful before, but now they are even more relaxed and beautiful. And I figured this is because they don't have the graduation in front of them. They are past the graduation already. So now they know they are successful. And so I figured this is the reason. But yes, okay, this is lovely to have you. And I think we would start by listening to your feedback. I'll just give you a little summary of where we are now. And we would then listen to you because this is your day. We want to hear from you the feedback. So we had this marvelous preparation, very intensive. I know you ladies were very tired. I can tell you, I was very tired too. I needed 2 weeks to recover from this process. And so, and of course, Ram and Florian and everybody. So it was really very nice. But after that, we wrapped things up and we're starting to collect feedback from everybody. We completed the website and we are updating, and we know some videos we want to update and some names correction and so forth that we need to do for you as well. So we have taken control over the website. So we control it now, not the company that designed it for us. And we will be updating everything. Hello, Liana, how are you?
Hello.
Hello. So we pretty much did that, and now we are preparing, to continue. We were on vacation with the children as well. In Israel, the corona is getting under control. Really, very, very good. It's much better now. The R is, I think, what is it, Ram? I think it's 0.5 or 0.4 or something, even maybe less. It's really very slow, and the corona is, we're getting over it. And they're starting to vaccinate young children. They're thinking of, I think they're vaccinating the 16, 15, and they are talking about vaccination for 12 to 15 as well in the future, waiting for the formal results from Pfizer. So even that is progressing nicely. And it looks like the vaccine is working. So it's a good news. It's working, it's effective. So Israel is slowly getting back on its feet in terms of economy and freedom of motion and all that. Of course, you cannot say that about our democracy. We have a big chaos with the election. It's a tie, and there's no clear vote, and so we have a challenge, a political challenge, a real challenge. So we'll see what happens. Our government has not been functioning for over a year now, and it's going to be a while until it functions. So this is one of our challenges. And we are listening to you. So you need to tell us a little bit about the corona, and then Ram will lead us listening to the feedback you have on the program. So go ahead. Florin, back to you.
I'm vaccinated and I'm more relaxed now and waiting to meet face to face in the future weeks, the students, visiting them maybe to the schools sometimes, let's see, May or June, before the summer vacation. I hope to be in RHAW and Târgu, but depend how the restriction will be down. And I'm really happy, and I have worked to prepare for the Rotary District newsletter information about our last activities and events. And I have put it a lot of information and photos, and I will do to the district conference, Rotary District Conference, a PowerPoint presentation of this project as well the Romanian project is education for the water consumption and washing hands.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so we would move over to listen to you, and Ram will run it. I just want to emphasize that the things that we need to learn is, of course, first of all, your feedback about the entire exercise, the experience, how you enjoyed it, and mostly how the students enjoyed it, and what they learned, and what kind of an impact it had on them in general in terms of sciences and international collaboration and so forth. And then, of course, the direct question that we had in mind in terms of how did it influence their awareness of the water challenges and the possible solution, which is really the cause for the program. And so these are the two things. And what do you think we should do better or differently for next year, or what we should do the same way? And that's what we want to hear. Ram, back to you, and you are the manager of this process.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. Just as Amnon said, we have a few points to discuss and a few points that we want you to comment on. And those are how this process promoted the knowledge of the children and their skills, their presenting skills, their project-based learning skills, and how it promoted their knowledge regarding the challenges, the water challenges, the global water challenges, and the local ones. And we would also like to know what are your expectations regarding the further collaboration for next year specifically. So these main 3 points, I want you to tell your opinion about it, and then if you have any more comments, feel free, to just freely say whatever you think we need to improve, or whatever it is that you want to say, but make sure that you talk about these 3 specific points. So let's start with Manuela.
No, I will be the speaker in that case. from the yes. First of all, the students were excited. The activity in which they participate was unique. Because for them to be in the same place with so many countries, with so much diversity, was something unusual. They were impressed by the scale of the participation. I think I did it right. The scale, many peoples, many countries, many students, and for them, I have a PowerPoint presentation, but I don't know if it's necessary. Yes, the knowledge, the everything what is new for them, because we have discussed that we don't have in our curricula anything about the water, why it's so important to preserve the water, why it's so important to be aware of the limits of the quantity of the water. And with that activity, our students have understood the problems, the global problems regarding the water. And that it's a very valuable point for us in our schools, because it's something, how to say, it's more easy to explain by doing something, and yes, and regarding the next year, I don't know. For me, it was okay so far, so I wouldn't change anything in our activity. Yeah.
Would you like to participate for next year?
Yes, of course. Yes, because the teachers are okay, but our students, they are excited, and they will participate also.
By the way, when you talk about students, a question, there are two possibilities. You can use the same grade, same age group next year, and you can also continue with the same group that started today and go deeper because you were limited because of the corona and everything, and you can do more next year if things will get better. So you can do more STEM, more experimentation and so forth, so you can go deeper. So you can continue in two ways, going up and going sideways to new classes.
Yes, yes, it is a great idea. With the corona, I don't know what will be, because in our country, I think that it's a lot of uncertainty right now.
Yes, it will take time until next year,
Yeah,
but eventually, you know, either you get used to working with Zoom or you recover from the corona. One of the things will happen.
I am how to say it? No, or over Zoom and Meet. I don't want to hear about it.
You've had enough.
No, yes, of course, no.
By
I
the way,
like.
along these lines, you know, there is this new unit about corona that we developed that turned out to be very interesting. And you can take a look at that. It is indirectly related to water again, to effluents and to wastewater. But it turned out it was very interesting. We had two Arab classes in Israel that practiced it and went all the way through exponential growth and all this good stuff that we have there. So you can consider that next year. Okay, very good.
Okay, thank you, Alina. Do you have anything you want to say other than these specific points, or you feel like you had all the feedback?
No, that is all. Thank you very much.
Okay. If you do have feedback on in a note written or in a PowerPoint or something, it would be useful. You can send it if you write like one paragraph summarizing what you say. We can put it on the website, you know, because this was a pilot and it's very meaningful. And I am preparing a certificate. We prepared a certificate. We need to work on it with Florin and so forth, but we will have certificates for the schools for their participation in the program, recognizing the contribution as a pilot year for the program. So your participation, this is to all of you, was very, very meaningful because, of course, with Florin, we've been working for a number of years, but also with you. You were the first to come on board. And our discussions back in November and December of last year were very, very important because they were the first. So in addition to what we learned and so forth, we gained more confidence. And so then when we met the other schools, we already had the interaction with schools in America and with you. And so we were more proficient and we felt better with what we were doing. So your contribution was very meaningful, very, very important to us because you were the first. Okay, who goes next?
I think Gabriela or Michaela.
You need
okay,
to
I can. Okay, I say something. I agree very much with Alina. The competition, the project was wonderful for our students because they learned very much about water issues. They didn't know too much about this, and also they were excited about the large participation from all over the world, and for sure we'll participate next year too. We'll have I think so the same group of students, but I'd like to see more interaction between our students. I think it would be very good for all the students to have meetings where they can find more about each other, to find about our schools. And I know that my students really love to do this. Maybe the other students too. What do you think about this?
About twinning sessions with Israeli peers?
Yes. Yes.
So you want more twinning sessions?
Yes, I think it's not enough. I think we have to know more about each other. And the students would love to meet the other students online at the beginning and maybe later face to face. It's just an idea.
Yes, yes, it's an excellent idea. I think we all agree that we did not have enough interaction.
Exactly.
We
Yes.
barely managed to even run the program because of the corona and the latency of how we started and the latency of the program in Israel and in Romania as well.
Yes.
And so, and then we had to advance the graduation from the 22nd to the 17th, which was a disturbance and so forth. So we were very pressed towards the end. And when we realized that we need to do a virtual joint meeting, then clearly this became a need to develop the website and so forth. So yes, everything became very, very compressed. So we were very happy that we did manage to make the introduction and to make the meeting. I think our feeling is that, you see, the thing is this is a very important point that you say, you know, the more interaction will be desired. And going forward for next year, I think it can be done. Because especially if you want to continue with the same age group, then they will have background and we can do it with the similar schools that had background from last year, so we can do that.
Would be wonderful.
Yeah,
yes.
and that will allow us to go deeper because they know each other and so forth, so this can be done. I want to make one point on that, and that's important because this is really a discussion between us. We delayed the beginning of the interaction, and a few people wonder, you know, as to why we did it. And the reason was that we wanted you to come into the meeting with the other schools when you have something to show, so that you don't come in on day one when you are still a little overwhelmed by the program and you don't know what it is and the language and the corona and the content and all that. So we wanted you to have the chance to gain some mileage on the program so that by the time you meet with the schools in Israel, you also have something to say about what is in Romania, about the challenges, possible solutions, the utilities, people you meet, situation in your town and your ideas and so forth. So you don't come empty-handed. I think this is the reason why we delayed it. And I think it turned out okay because I saw your students were very proud to come in and they had something to say. And I think it was very nice. And also the idea that you brought in the students to some of our meeting, which was your idea. We didn't plan on that, but your idea to expose the students, some leading students, to us, to Ram and to myself and to the Rotarians was very good. So it gave them a feel. And so by the time they ended up interacting with Israeli students, they had a little proficiency, and it is all about gaining confidence. And so I think this was very wise. So yes, it shortened the time and the number of interactions we had. That is true. But I think it was worse. So we gradually built up to where we could interact, and then we did interaction. Because, you know, to make interaction between schools around the world and just to get together on Skype or on Zoom and just to say, hello, I'm the class from this, and show a picture of school, and then it's not very meaningful. If you come and you talk about the challenges of water and what you think about solution, and you saw what the children did in Israel and you communicate it, I think it is much deeper. But okay, next year, hopefully this will be better. But I'm glad that you liked it and that you want to continue.
No. It's okay. Thank you. Maybe Gabriela.
Good evening. Yes, I'm agree with my principal and my colleague. And yes, it's a good idea to the student get meet on Zoom and exchange some information of culture, no, because our students are very curious about Israel. We learn very little thing about this country, and they want to exchange this information. Maybe next year we'll do something about that.
Very good. I think that the students in Israel will be delighted to share more about the country. And I think, it's an interesting point. We never thought about this as a subject. We were thinking about treating the water and maybe learning about how the water is treated, in Israel and other countries. But when you say it, we spent a lot of time, you did and our student did a little less, but also talking about the school, which is interesting. So the students can easily present it, they know it, it's their home, so they're proud of it, so they want to show it. And some of the schools in Romania are so old and so beautiful building and have such a wonderful history, so this is understandable. But we never really got to the point where we were talking about the two countries. And that is interesting because the countries, of course, are very different. They have different history, and there's always a story to tell. And for the students to be able to present their country, for Israelis to present Israel, and for Romanians to present Romania, the geography, the history, the economy, the technology and the future, everything, how, a country that is young in the EU and how it relates, and the country in Israel that's like isolated among Arabs. Now we have some peace with more neighbors, but it's, it's not the same as in Europe. And the lack of water and the enormity of water available in Romania, which still doesn't assure that you have enough drinking water. So yes, looking at it from a national point of view may be very interesting. And so you can also, and now that we think about it, you can even, present questions like, if your students are interested to learn more about Israel, what about Israel? Is it the history? There's common interest about, antiquities and the roots of Christianity and so forth, which are very closely related to old Judaism and the temple and in Jerusalem and so forth. There's a lot having to do with the Holy Land that the students in Israel know, and this becomes interesting for students in Romania. Now they can tell the story. And like, for instance, I'll give you this is an excellent example. The question of the Temple Mount, where the temple was, and this is the basic place, where Jesus came and threw over the merchants there that was selling things for sacrifice and all that, all the corruption around it and so on. There were pilgrims, 100,000 pilgrims that came to Jerusalem 3 times a year. This is Jewish tradition. In fact, we were now in Pesach. Pesach is one of those, no, Pesach is not. Sukkot, Pesach, Shavuot.
Shavuot, Pesach, Shavuot.
Right. So it's one of the days. Pesach is the important one, the memorial of the Exodus from Egypt. So 100,000 pilgrims used to come to Temple Mount. Now, imagine the water and sanitation challenge in an ancient city that all of a sudden has to treat 100,000 people for 2 weeks. Very big challenge, both in terms of water supply for drinking, water for sanitation, and also water for purification, having to do, it's related to sanitation, but it's the sanitation having to do with the holy sanitation, for the Temple Mount. So as a result, there was a very, very big system of water conduits that were built, Roman conduits, aqueducts, bringing water to Jerusalem. And Florin saw them when he was visiting in Jerusalem, coming in fact from Bethlehem. And this is a story we tell our children. In fact, we have a lot of presentation about it and so forth. This entire challenge of water supply to Jerusalem in ancient times is a subject that we treat very, very deeply. And it conveys 2 things. It conveys the history of water technology from ancient days, working with gravity downhill. You take a fountain that's always higher and it flows down to the city, and you think it is easy. Even flowing downhill is certainly not easy. And Ram can tell you a lot about it because he's a tour guide, so he knows these places. And then in later times, water were raised from a fountain, and then modern time, we bring it up from the sea line, from the shoreline, up 700 meters up to Jerusalem with big pumps. So providing water in Jerusalem and then treating the reclaimed water is a very, very interesting story in Jerusalem. So if you ask this question, it relates to Christianity, to Judaism, to ancient world, to Jerusalem in its development, and to water. And so, and there are some fascinating facts. I'll give you an example of a fascinating fact. When there were sacrifices on the temple, on the on the and where you put the sacrifices in the burnt sacrifice, how do you call it? It's in a church as well. I forget the name. Never mind. But when you burn the sacrifice, then there's remains, after at the end of the day, and there's sacrifice on Temple Mount continuously. There's fire going on from Temple Mount continuously, but you need to clean it. So in order to clean it, they used to accumulate large amounts of water and block them in a big reservoir that was blocked actually, and then you flood the forget the word.
The altar. Mizbeach is the altar.
Yes?
Altar.
The altar, right? Well, it's not exactly the altar, but it's but anyhow, it's the ancient altar. It's another name.
Close to altar. Close to altar.
No, it's not altar. It's all right. Anyhow, so they flooded it with water. So it washed the blood and the remains and everything. Okay, but that's a lot of water, a lot of sacrifices all day long. 100,000 people are coming to sacrifice. Remember, going back to ancient days, people thought that their salvation depended on the sacrifice. This is prior to prayer. This is before prayer. Remember, Temple Mount, coming to the temple, making a sacrifice is your way to salvation. This then later on develops into prayer, both in Judaism and in Christianity, and to the confession and the practice of forgiveness and everything else in Christianity, which you know very well. You have to confess and so forth. So that's part of the same practice of how you regain validity in a way. But the water after washing the arrangement there was very filthy with remains of the sacrifice. And it used to flow down from Temple Mount, down the valley. And down the valley below the Temple Mount, there was a garden called King's Garden, which was fertilized with this water. Now, this water was extremely good as fertilizers because of the organic remains. So good and so valuable that people used to steal this water. And that's in the Talmud. So there are so many unique stories about Jerusalem, water, the history and so forth everywhere in the country, because people lived everywhere in the country. Like they're saying, when you are out of in the second event, you pray for water at the beginning of the water season. There's another pilgrimage day. So you pray for water, but then they say you only pray for water in 2 weeks' time. You don't pray for water for rain now. You pray for it in 2 weeks' time. Why? Because the pilgrims have to return home. Even if there's rain in the middle, they'll be caught in the rain. So you pray for water in 2 weeks' time. So all kinds of stories like this, which are really very interesting, and it'll be nice to converse about it. Okay, so So we have a challenge to broaden the review and interest about the two countries as a subject by itself, and that could be very interesting. Okay, Ram, back to you. I'm talking as if I'm providing the feedback.
Yes, we got the feedback from both schools, and we already have a written feedback from Liana, who sent me the feedback, and she said she's feeling more comfortable in writing it in English. But Liana, do you have anything else to add? I know we got your email and I got your feedback, and it was very detailed. But do you want to add anything to what you wrote to me?
Vrei să adaugi ceva? Deschideți microfonul.
Liana,
Open the microphone.
It is not your English, it's your microphone.
Microfonul, Liana.
Just a moment, yes. I read my ideas.
Your email was excellent. I read it and I enjoyed it very much, and you're right, and we should time things better and everything. You're absolutely right. But go ahead and tell us.
Good evening, everyone. I start congratulation these organizers because an action of such magnitude required a huge and team work. Congratulations to the participants because their serious and interest in this event was seen. The topics were interesting and educational. Congratulations again to all.
You mean mostly to Ram?
Liana, one thing that you didn't write, maybe you can tell us your plans for next year. Do you plan to participate with the same class or with different age groups, or maybe to mix it and add another class?
Deci dacă ți-ai propus ca la anul să participi cu aceiași copii, cu aceleași clase, sau vei face schimbări în componența grupului de elevi în anul viitor? Spune-mi în română că traduc eu.
Clasa merge 3 ani de zile. Deci ei sunt clasa 10 acum și așa am stabilit din clasa 9 cât durează.
The same class, the stay students, they will continue because they will be in high school the next 2.5 years. Then they can continue the project until end of the project.
Okay.
The same group, the same students, the same group.
That's good.
25 students.
Thank you very much, Liana. Thank you very much. So just our ideas for next year. We aim to start earlier than what we had this year because of the Corona situation and because this is just a pilot. So it took us time to get to know each other and to get to know the program and what our aim was. And so this year or next year, we expect to start earlier in the beginning of the school year and even start as much as possible to start the twinning process. And that relates to your request for more twinning meetings. So we would like to start the twinning process earlier this year.
Let me translate in some words, Ram. Okay.
Yes.
Deci vom începe mult mai repede anul următor, pentru că deja și pandemia este sub control și deja pe semne că în septembrie sau început de octombrie, second half of September or beginning of October, we will start together și procesul de twinning, de înfrățire între școli va fi esențial.
Dacă se poate cu și pașii aceia de cunoaștere cât mai mult și de socializare.
She requests some steps or some meetings to socialize between the students from Romania and from Israel. Depends. So how can you organize, or maybe will be organized some twinning meetings only between the Romanian.
Florin,
Florin,
your microphone
side.
went off. Florin, your
Sorry.
microphone.
Sorry. So she requests this process for twinning process to be open for the students to have time to socialize and to speak directly so online students from the both schools which are in the tuning process.
Yes. So we do hear from you and from the rest of the teachers that the twinning process itself, the socialization between the students should get
at the beginning as first step to defreeze the relationship and then to continue on the specific topic of the project.
So to give it a bigger emphasis next year to the twinning process itself, to the socialization between the students. So that's something that we take it under consideration. Another thing is that we would like to make the learning process to have a bigger impact. So we are working on translating more materials for next year, so we can have learning units for you to start with. So we will have something to learn and a learning process that in the end of this process, then the project will happen. So it won't be just like this year that we started with a research project, but we want it to be with a deeper learning next year. And we take all your comments and we will consider it, and we try to make it even better than what happened this year. But next year we do aim again to meet everybody and to make a big graduation event, a global one, with even more countries and more schools. So it should be a very fascinating experience for the students. And from what I hear from you, this experience of participating in something that has a global impact was something that was marvelous for the students, and we aim to keep on doing that. So you can be calm on this aspect. Amnon, do you want to add anything?
No, I think this is valid. I think we also want to make sure that the relevance to the curricula is also emphasized. The exchange with the Israeli students and so forth could be very encouraging, and we can do that too. But we also want to make sure if we make this longer, see what happens is if we dedicate a few more meetings and so forth, and you'll be spending more time on that, and it's exciting, but you really need to be able to produce results that you can show your schoolmasters and so forth relative to physics or biology or chemistry or something. And we didn't have enough time this year to build up the relationship between working on reclaimed water and chemistry and biology, and working on pumping relative to the physics of pumping energy and electricity required and so forth. And so forth. And so that is one aspect that we didn't have time to, we spoke a lot about STEM, we gave you some examples and so forth, but you didn't have enough time to really practice it. And I think you will find, as we did, that this is a very valuable part of the program in basic educational terms. Given the fact that the world is changing and so forth, and knowledge grows and so forth. So you want to be able to do that next year somehow, to get a few small water pumps and some power supplies and so to be able to do some experimentation that relates to it, and then it brings a whole different subject to it. So aside from learning the impact in the global and their environment, if they can study in those aspects, like we're talking about, for instance, about global warming. So, what is heat? How do water evaporate? What is specific heat, and what are the cycles? And how much energy is released from gas when it's burning and directly from the sun and so forth. Do some experimenting with photovoltaic cells, and so do some real experimentation on the environment, water, heat, and warming, So the children understand the subject. They don't just talk about it. You know, protect the world, you know, protect the world, but yeah, but you have to provide energy. If you don't have energy, you'll be freezing in Romania in the winter, right? So you need to have energy. So what do? Can you provide wind energy and solar energy and store it? What does it take to store energy and so forth? What I'm suggesting is that you will take advantage of that part of the program because we really excelled in that. We're doing, you know, something very, very interesting. Of course, we didn't translate all the content. We gave you some inspirational 4-5 pieces of information you know, presentations. We have 250 of those. And so we can select more and maybe translate more, but be able to produce valuable, deep value for you, because after the excitement of the interaction and so forth, you want to make sure that you have solid value in physics or biology or English, you know, even English, it's okay. If the children communicate in English, then they practice English and it's very valuable. Or if they learn history, as we just spoke. So that is okay, but you want to produce value and not just the friendship and the interaction, which is exciting, but it's not a subject. It can come together with learning and not instead of learning. And that's what I'm trying to one other thing that we did that will be available for you next year, that Ram is working on now, are those virtual tours of the facility. We created virtual tours of the power plant, which has a lot of water in it, and because it's a combined cycle, gas and water and evaporation and the turning of the energy, and fascinating. And we have a virtual tour there. And of course, we have the virtual tour in the desalination, which we showed you. Now, there's a difference between when we show it to you and when you come in and just spend, you know, prepare yourself for review how the desalination facility works, and then you take the tour on your own. Maybe we can guide you first time, but then you can take the tour on your own, and the students can go and visit and look around and do some research in the video, and then do a little, you know, investigation on reverse osmosis or energy reclamation. It's a whole different story. Now it's like they come to the desalination facility in Ashkelon, and they're there and they talk to the manager. We have an interview with the manager of the facility and so forth. And then if we do this right, then you can proceed and take pictures like this in Romania. It turns out that the equipment required for taking such 3D images is not very sophisticated and not very expensive. You know, $200-300 will get you all the gear that you need. And if you have a tool like this, you know, held at fluorine, and fluorine holds it centrally, and then it goes with one school, and every school runs 2 or 3 video clips like this, like in Cluj in the museum. Like the museum in Cluj is a fascinating facility. So you can go visit it and take it. And so now you can produce your own virtual tours. There is some knowledge required on the processing and so forth, but it is not very difficult. And if you want to do it, we can show you how to do it. And so now you can create your own, and then you can create your own content. So we show you what we do. But if you have, for instance, if you have a challenge with, you know, pollution in the Danube, for instance, so go show it. Take a camera, create a piece of educational chapter by yourself of a problem or of a solution. Talk to a utility. What do they plan to do to build a reclamation facility or what have you? And then you have your own content that you create. And this is lovely. This is great learning. So I think this is a good experience that we should remember. Yeah.
Liana has some proposal for a common activity to do. I ask her to inform us.
Fiecare țară să-și facă conturul țării, în care copiii să pună colaje sau decupaje cu imagini legate de apă reprezentative a țărilor. La noi fiecare poate să-și pună lucrurile.
Proposal is each country participant in the project to put on the map of the country some important issues regarding the water existing in their country, and looking to this map to identify the issues existing in specific for this country, to be more more focusing on these issues. Should be
Okay,
Iar
so
ei să facă un panou în care așează
and
lucrările
then you to
varianta
put
țării.
together all these maps with the issues existing in a global wall with this maps. So
Okay.
we have started to develop the cooperation between the Romanian schools which are included in this program, and in 31st of March we had a conference or a seminar, a workshop with Emanuel Goju from Oradea College and Ekaterina Teodoroiu from Târgu Jiu, with the students and teachers talking about the climate changes. And such of meetings, internal meeting of cooperation, will continue to be in the next period of time, as well planning a visit and meeting in Water Museum in Cluj. Maybe in this summertime or in the autumn time, depend how they are moving the pandemic issues in Romania.
very interesting, very interesting. If you make it in English, we would like to participate, but of course you would probably make it in Romanian, and
Yeah, of course,
possible for me, for us. But anyhow, the idea of putting.
But this is a good idea. Sometimes when you are available to attend our meeting and we can talk in English, because everybody knows English, talking about
I'm sure
a relevant topic which is interesting for the children, for the students.
Myself will gladly join.
Thank you.
Students, maybe with the school as well, and so
Yeah.
we participate in a meeting like this and share the ideas, and that could be a very good idea.
Thank you very much.
That would be a good idea. And also this idea of the map, and it's interesting. I want to call your attention to the fact that there is a technology that is used to present water and other infrastructures on a map, usually referred to as GIS, Geographical Information Systems. And we have introduced the GIS as a topic in our program, and we have a couple of presentations on the matter. And the students in Israel actually go around and look at the facilities as they are marked on the map, both in terms of the provisioning of water and then the wastewater treatment, the sewage system and treatment. And so, and I'm sure that a similar map exists in Romania, certainly for the big components and utilities. And so, yes, we can do that map on the regular map as Liana has suggested, but also we can progress this forward with geography teachers that are usually very excited about GIS, and that could be another topic which we know and we can help translate and so forth. This would, the more we have, the more we will need to translate and so forth. So we will need to have more support. Maybe we can get that from the utility, maybe from the schools, maybe from the parents. I don't know. This is something that we will have to see. Do you think that there is a possibility that the school will finance part of the activity, or you think this could be challenging? What do you think, Florin?
I don't know if the schools, maybe the teachers know better if they can co-finance more maybe they can ask the Rotary clubs, or I want to speak with you in private after this meeting about what some other alternative to co-finance and to continue the financement and cooperation with the central government in Romania. But we have to talk.
That could be.
I have to talk with you because we have to involve the governor.
Yes,
it's to a different level. He has another position to talk to the ministries and all as well from the district government budget, from the district budget. Maybe we can finance us as well the project.
That could be excellent. Now, relative to schools, it would be nice, I think, to set a goal to increase the number of schools, because we had, 4 schools this year, because we were not sure we can do more and so forth. But there is no reason why we shouldn't expand. And next year we can have more schools to participate in the program. What do you think would be the interest in what is the potential, and what do you think would be the interest in that?
Maybe I think that if you have some proposal regarding some small equipment to be supplied by the school to do some samples or to do some experiments, to ask the school if they are available to finance for their goal, for their aim to be in their school. Maybe should be such alternative, but I don't know how the budget of schools is managed by.
Florin, I think Amnon was asking do you think that there are more potential schools that might be interested to participate in next year, other than the 4 schools that we are already collaborating with?
I think that will be more because they are very excited by the existing experience. And talking to the Rotary level, I think there are interest from other schools as well to be included in the next stage.
This is important, in itself, when you talk to your schoolmasters and to other schools and so on. If we come up, say, with a report, we have a list of, say, maybe 20 schools now that want to participate next year. Of course, this will require budget, but aside, it is very important to know that we have 20 schools that learned about the program, know about the experience, understand what can be done, and express interest. So then we can go to the government, water utilities, municipality, what have you, whoever needs to be addressed, governor, the government, whatever, the EU. But we come to them with the knowledge that we've run a pilot and that we have 20, 30, 40 schools that are expressed an interest, and now it is serious, so we can expand. We don't have to go to 40 right away, but we can go from 4 to 10 or 20, that is easily done, because then, of course, what also will happen, if we want to work, say, with 20 schools, of course, we work with you and you gain some experience. Of course, Florin is a partner, and you also know more, and now you can take part as teachers, helping us to coach other schools. Of course, you can do it in Romania, and it's easier and so forth. So it doesn't all have to come from us. The idea is that this will proliferate like in hierarchy. So we have 4 schools now, each school supports 2 schools now. So right away we have 12 schools next year or maybe more. And you can be partners in guiding because you've experienced. And we of course will continue to support and so on, but we maintain the exponential growth in a pattern that can proliferate easily. And this way, if we do this across the world, then this would be lovely. So I think, I was so glad to have Barry Racine join us and to still keep the roots of his original involvement in the program. And he is going to be the chairman of the TRF next year. So we may have good support from there. But we need to also show progress on the ground with more schools and more teachers that are interested. And this is something that you can really help us with, and very good. Okay, Ram, who else did we not hear yet? We didn't hear Manuela.
We're just missing you at school, but we're meeting them separately next week because they couldn't attend this week.
Okay.
Because of the holidays.
Very
So we are meeting them in a different, separately in a different date, but we covered everybody.
All right. So Manuela, what do you think? We covered, but still, what do you think?
Sorry, I don't understand.
What do you think? How did you enjoy the program?
Speak my colleague Alina. For this is colleague in our school.
Amnon, we heard Alina, and she's speaking for Manuela and
I
her
know,
school.
but I wanted Manuela's impression too, but now I
Yes,
get it. Okay,
we
very
have
good.
difficulty with English also.
Very
So
good.
we're trying to be sensitive about that.
Well, you don't have that much difficulty because I can see that you hear us and you understand. Oh, you just need to dare and you'll be okay. Don't worry about making a mistake. It's the only way to learn. Okay, Ram, anything else on your plan?
I would just say that maybe we meet the students again. I don't know, within the next few weeks. We didn't plan that, but I would like you to tell them how much appreciation they got from everybody, from our staff and from the visitors. They really made an amazing job. They presented themselves with a lot of dignity, and it was a big challenge. It was a huge challenge for students as young as them. To do something, to pull out something like that, and they did it with, you know, with flying colors, and I think they deserve a lot of respect.
A lot of credit.
So I would like you to tell them that from us, and whenever we meet them again, and I will make sure to tell them that myself. But until then, make sure to pass it on, and so
you
they
know
that.
Thank you, Ram, and you know that it is all recorded. And we put it on the website. So our website now has the exact copy of what took place in the graduation, except in a recorded form. So we have the General Assembly and we have the breakout rooms and all the students talking. We recorded it all and put the video on YouTube. And from there, we connected it to our website. So if you walk into our website, the event is still there, live in a recorded form. So you're welcome to use it and to show it off and to use it as a marketing tool for other teachers. It is all there available for you. So I want to thank you all very much for your dedication and your willingness to fight out and to overcome all the challenges. I know we made a lot of mistakes. We try to make more successful things than mistakes, but we know we make a lot of mistakes because we are daring. But you were excellent partners and you came along with us and were tolerant to the first mistakes and things we did. And we were together able to work and grow and develop. And that's what we will do next year as well. Thank you very much, Florine and all the team.
Can you stay 2 minutes more to talk about?
Of course.
Please.
Okay, so thank you very much, everybody. And,
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy the vacation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
To me.
Enjoy the vacation. It's very important.
Yes,
Ma'am,
thank
you can stay. I think it will be interesting, and we.
Yeah. What I wanted to talk with you is to prepare a letter for the actual governor and the incoming governor of our district, describing a little bit the stage we are with the project, asking their support in relationship with the government, with some ministry, with the utilities. I can manage the relationship. I can talk with them to support in different way the project, and explaining the next year how we'll continue the program, and asking asking financial support, because the actual governor told me if and maybe should be signed by you and Avner. Avner is well known in Romania. It's a past district governor. It's a Wasrag ambassador.
And he speaks Romanian.
And he understands Romanian, speak Romanian. And as I know, they can support financial, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000 this year, similar next year, but they can support if you request such of support.
I didn't hear you. You said $1,000?
1 or 2,000, I don't know how much.
Florin, to run
It's
the
not,
program
it's not DDF. It's not DDF, because DDF, it's very low level of DDF in Romania. We have only 30.
No. I know. Forget the DDF. I know this is small money. That's okay. But if we talk to the governor, for him to talk with the government.
No, to the district governor in Rotary. This should be the support, financial support from the Rotary district, the 2241. From the government, we have to talk and negotiate in different way, and to send a letter of express how to be the government, the ministry involved, and I don't have any idea regarding the cooperation and possibilities to finance. I don't know this to the central government, but we can try.
Okay, because the $1,000 from the DDF and the groups and all clubs, could be helpful, but
it's not too much, but it's something. We don't have DDF. Only from the district budget.
No, I tell you what. The thing is this. This year we were able to run the program with very little financing from the twinning program, because we had the global grant for the operation in Israel. So we took part of that and applied it for the twinning, because it was also exciting for the schools in Israel. So that was the basis. And there's no guarantee that we will have next year, and it takes a long time to develop. And the amount of money we need if we want to operate with 20 or 30 schools, or really do it significantly next year, is more to the tune of $50,000 to $100,000, not $1,000, which is not a big problem for the government if it has a major program. This is the kind of approach we need to take. Now, there is another possibility of maybe collaboration between clubs in Romania and clubs in America, and then there's a TRF grant that is not a global grant, but is applied only to collaboration of clubs from Eastern Europe with clubs in America. And when you make such a teaming, then you can get maybe even $100,000 to $150,000 per such a teaming. So we would investigate that possibility. But vis-a-vis the utilities and the government, we should try to set a goal. So I don't know, maybe 100,000, and we'll see. Where maybe we don't get there, we get only 70, whatever. But this is the kind of number. And then if we get that kind of number, we can also provide little equipment and some support for your activity. Maybe have an assistant teacher. Then we can really do it in a proper manner. Because to improvise just with our time and a few hours here and there, it's okay, we can do it. It was lovely to do it this year, but this will not get us to really where we want to be. We want to really benefit from the whole thing, maybe translate, 10 or 15 more chapters, provide more education tools, and, do it substantially. And then maybe towards the end of the year, even to have some teachers come from Romania to a course that we will run here in Israel with teachers from all over the world. Or if need be, we can come, Ram can come to Romania, or I can come, and we can teach teachers in Romania, whatever we can do, running a teacher's training, this is a nice way to do it. So if we decide we want to operate next year, one of the things we can do is decide on a teacher's training program with, say, 3-4 meetings. We don't need to have a whole big thing, but maybe 3-4 meetings that we teach, and we spend a couple of hours together every time, have some assignment for the teachers and all that. And the government can support that as a training for the teachers. It's a professional development course for the teachers. And we provide them what we can, but they make it local and adapt it to local needs, so it's relevant for the local curricula. And it's very important to make sure that it is relevant for the local curricula with language, with culture, with the history, because the education system in Romania will not want to have students in Romania study according to an Israeli program. They don't mind to have pieces of content, but you really want to adapt it so that you can truly say that it has been adapted to Romania. So this we can do. But in order to do this, we really need to have some structure and support. And more, maybe even as important is the idea that if the government likes it, because it addresses education, it is high-tech, water technology, and the future, protection environment, and so forth, it is relatively a low investment for a big benefit to improve on the education system. So this may be very interesting for them because it relies on a very successful program. There's the credit. We have the credit of the successful pilot. So it's a plan. When we were talking about a program like this 4 years ago, after we came to Cluj, this was a little premature. We didn't quite know. Now we know. We have something in hand that we know can work. And now we don't need to be ashamed by proposing something, hoping that someone will finance it. Maybe a donation from America, from someone that is involved, or, whatever. We have to look for something like this. That's what I think.
Yes, I understand, and I'm working in International Water Association, but unfortunately in Romania it's very difficult to put together all of this in a legal concept and to be acceptable for all the entities. And for this reason, Rotary in Romania, it's not cooperating with the government and some other ministries because we didn't find the direct connection and the people open to do such of cooperation. This is true, and I'm not in a position to have this high connection to the government. Maybe the governors or some other people from Bucharest, they have the connection, and we need some time to develop a relationship in this way. Take some time. And regarding the financial aspect, maybe some donations or some sponsors from the utilities. It's more easy to solve as from the government, unfortunately. As I know, the existing situation regarding the budget, the legal aspects of this cooperation. But a letter from you and Avner describing the process, the progress, where we are, what we want to do, how you are doing in Israel, which should be a model from Romania to try to implement in the similar way, will be the beginning of this process for the next year as well. If there will be there will be interest from other schools, they can sponsor with at least $1,000 for each new school. Will be this support, financial support.
That is a good start.
Yes, of course. We'll continue in the same way.
Yes, yes, this could be a start, and we can support.
Yeah.
Also, another avenue potentially is the Israeli companies that work in Romania. So we have
Yes, should be.
and others. If when we
Yeah.
tell them we work there, they may be willing to. I think Tahal works in Romania.
I know.
And Tahal donated to the program nicely in the past. In
Yeah.
Israel. So if we now tell them that we operate in Romania, they may be willing to support it.
I will send to you data contact, mobile phone, and email address of the actual governor and incoming governor. And if you send a letter, you put me as well in CC to have a contact with them, to talk with them about this topic.
Very good. Okay, so we have a plan of what to do. Excellent. I'm very glad. I'm glad that the feedback was good and that we proceed. And
yes, and I think if you can in May, second half of May, to do another meeting with the teacher and the students will be nice, good, and will be maybe the last in this year.
You understand? So we have another session like this with all the teachers and the students. So the students get that, and then we show the certificate.
The conclusions of this year, next year plan, and how to continue in the next.
Congratulate the students for the wonderful work they did and all that.
Good. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will send you the draft certificate, and you tell me if you think it's okay.
Okay.
Very good. Florine, I want to thank you again for everything you did in the year. This was marvelous. This would have never come alive without you. And so thank you very much.
I'm really pleased and proud by the job done by the students and the teacher, and they have done a lot of efforts, but it was well done.
That's right.
For the program and for the project. Take care, friends.
And thank you to Ram that managed it so lovely.
This is a future of professionals in your country.
He is our future.
Yes, of course. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.